Hello, everybody. Hold on a sec while I take care of something. I'll be right back here. I remember. Oh, all right. Sorry about that, everybody. So today is Thursday, December 26th, 2024. Hopefully, everybody had a good Christmas. Happy Thursday to everybody. Um, sometimes things can get a little tricky coming off a holiday like that when you've had a couple days off. Sometimes getting back into the swing of things can be a bit of a tricky thing. So had some kind of last minute stuff kind of pop up before coming on here, so that's why maybe I'm not quite as steady as I'd like to be here. But anyways, so of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So we're now we're already up to 3 minutes considering all the mess that we just went through, so I might as well just get right into talking about what's on tap for tonight. So had a couple of days off, so as I said, I hope everybody's had a Merry Christmas and was able to spend some time with their family and all that. We here at my house, we had dinner on Christmas Eve, so that was all good. Anyways, just take care of this real quick, and then sometimes running ragged is. Anyways, I'm gonna put some music back on for just another quick moment to take care of something real quick, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I'm back. So anyway, sorry about all that. So here's what's on tap for tonight. Of course, we actually have three articles we're going to go over from Bounding into Comics, including Marvel Comics tries and fails to hide negative Twitter extraplays from fans unhappy that next Amazing Spider-Man run is yet another reset. Endless resets. Really, let's see. The author of Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation voices frustration with fans who only engage with series via YouTube videos. That we'll take a look at that. And then Studio Bones reveals release date for the final season of My Hero Academia. Announces long-awaited anime adaptation of My Hero Academia Vigilante spinoff. All right, so with that, those are the three articles. Plus, we'll get you all caught up on the wrestling wrap-up, including, including last night's AEW Dynamite as they head into the Continental Classic semis are set to be played out, of course, along with the final at this Saturday's World's End event. I'll kind of go over what all happened on last night's show, and then from there, of course, this day in each history. So, without any further ado, of course, let's get into this. Let me just pull up the articles in here. Alrighty then, so here we go. So first up, let's get into this article first over here. Marvel Comics tries and fails to hide negative Twitter extraplays from fans unhappy that next Amazing Spider-Man run is yet another reset. Article by Spencer McCauley, published back on the 23rd. Of course, that was 3 days ago, so that was back on Monday. So let's go ahead and go over that article now. As always, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with all that being said, so Marvel Comics tries and fails. Okay, so yeah, we already read that part. So in the latest example of the stunning disconnect between the publisher and their customers, rather than admit absolutely no one wants to read another story about Spider-Man's life being reset to square one, Marvel Comics has attempted to hide any and all negative replies to their Twitter announcement regarding their decision to return to that exceedingly dry well once again for an upcoming volume of Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, resets are good if done like once in a grand while. Like, for example, when DC had to kind of reset back in 85, 86 with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was necessary because you had all these different universes and they were trying to, they bought up a bunch of properties from other companies and all that, so they had to kind of clean all that up. But if you're like resetting like every single time, like every year, every couple of years, after a while it gets a little stale. The resets can get, stale. So the whole idea of trying to refocus for a like new generation is not exactly always a good thing, per se. So, and in a hilarious twist, even with their attempts to avoid such criticisms, the replies to said tweet were overwhelmingly filled with fans who are fed up with their continued abuse of the wall crawler. Ay, ay, ay. Yeesh. Between such creative decisions as turning the hero into a goblin via his own, in smaller quotes, Spider-Man who laughs, on smaller quote, arc, heel turning Ben Reilly into Chasm, in parentheses, as done due to editorial's admitted desire to give his narrative role as in smaller quotes second and happier Spider-Man to Miles Morales, and introducing Paul as prop with which to keep Peter and MJ from rekindling their romance by the time Zeb Wells' recent run on Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6 came to an end. Fans were dying for a change in Webhead's creative direction. No, in small parentheses, Peter is unemployed, smaller quote, nonsense, no more contrived excuses to keep him and MJ broken up that would make a Spanish soap opera blush. No attempts to make the reader think that the Green Goblin, or any other major villain, for that matter, is actually truly reformed. What fans really wanted was just to see Spider-Man being allowed a chance to live, grow, and develop as a human being, instead of having the rug pulled out from under them for the umpteenth time. Yeah, I mean, let a story run its course for a while, and don't keep trying to interject a lot of the baloney in there. A lot of the baloney we've been seeing the last few years here. And we continue on now. Unfortunately, while the subsequent handling of the book to iconic Marvel comic scribe Joe Kelly, perhaps best known for penning Deadpool Volume 3, and the only good arc of the Brand New Day era of Amazing Spider-Man, American Son, for its current 8 Deaths of Spider-Man filler arc, suggested that the publisher might be looking to hand the reins of Amazing Spider-Man to a competent writer. It seems the Spider-Man editorial office has other plans. On December 19th, a week ago today, Marvel officially announced they were planning to relaunch Amazing. Okay, to relaunch, not to be relaunched, or it's either to relaunch or to be relaunched, not to be relaunched. Amazing Spider-Man for its 7th volume, with Kelly providing scripts and art duties being shared by longtime Spider illustrator John Romita Jr. and Blood Hunt series artist Pepe Larraz. But unfortunately, would be doing so in a way that doubled down on all the worst traits of Wells' run. Quote, the new Amazing Spider-Man will deliver classic Spidey storytelling with bold new horizons for Spider-Man. His supporting cast, including the recently redeemed Norman Osborn and Peter's new girlfriend Shay, in parentheses there, and the greatest supervillains in all of pop culture, unquote, reads the book's official solicit. Quote, the new run finds Peter without a job and looking for gainful employment, but his job search is interrupted by a rampaging rhino who is but the tip of a sinister iceberg. What major spider villain is working behind the scenes, weaponizing other spider villains, including one we haven't seen in over 7 years? Also, what is that goblin-free Norman Osborn up to these days? Unquote. See if anybody's said anything here yet. No. All right. As I said, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. We continue on with the article here. Reached for by Polygon's Matt Patches for comment. Kelly himself teased of his upcoming work, quote, humility is a good start, even though this is a new number one. I don't think of it as a, in small quote, restart per se. I'm writing the next chapter of the story of one of the world's greatest characters, lucky enough to follow in the footsteps of folks before me, unquote. Quote, after that sinks in, I spend a lot of time thinking about what I love about Spider-Man and his cast. What stories resonated with me at different times of my life, how I can synthesize all of that into something that works with what came before but breaks new ground, unquote. He added, quote, I'm fascinated by the internal lives of these characters and exploring new territory there. Peter's youth is interesting. For example, the days before he was, in small quote, puny Parker, on small quote, in high school. At the same time, I feel a drive to take bold, unexpected swings in order to see how Spider-Man deals with Marvel-sized curveballs. Pressure makes diamonds, unquote. So they're looking to reinvent the wheel, I guess. Unsurprisingly, this news went over with fans about as well as Peter attempting to genuinely wear the symbiote suit again would with MJ. In other words, not well at all. Case in point, when the official Marvel Comics headquarters Twitter account made a promotional tweet regarding the upcoming run on Amazing Spider-Man, their replies were inundated with tired fans expressing disappointment both at their favorite hero being once again run through the mud and the publisher's insistence that this is the story they really want. Yeah, and usually when you have the person providing you actually telling you what you want instead of asking you, that's a bad sign. That's a pretty bad sign. Sharing the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse recreation of Peter MJ's iconic and smaller quote upside down kiss from Spider-Man 2 At Jacob Umar begged, quote, someone please put Spider-Man and his wife, Jackpot, a.k.a. MJ Watson, back together, unquote. Quote, it's honestly sad how Marvel continue to destroy their flagship character, unquote, wrote at Adam We75138379. Quote, I'm officially giving up on Amazing Spider-Man. Nothing seems to change. Ultimate Spider-Man is the main Spidey comic for most people now, unquote. Quote unquote, so asserted Anime Hunt at Anime Hunt. Quote, Peter and Mary Jane are still not back together. Quote, Paul and Shay are still around. Once again, the clock's been reset on Peter again, with no growth for his character. Nick Lowe is still editor, and again another B&D writer with no clue of who Spider-Man really is taking over as the main writer. You just can't help yourself from making the same mistake again, can you? Unquote. Wow, quite a damning statement right there, to say the least. But nothing compares to that to Harley Quinn Spectacular, does it, folks? We, of course, read about that the other day. While of course Marvel is upsetting fans with once again reinventing the wheel by resetting Amazing Spider-Man. You got DC coming up in late March as part of April Fools. They're going to have an entire comic devoted to Harley Quinn farting. Not kidding. Not kidding you, folks. I know Yellow Flash and his crew also went over that. So, anyways, getting back to the article here. Yet, while these reactions were unsurprising, what was surprising was the fact that these three comments, along with dozens of others, most of which simply shared a negative reaction GIF in response to the news, were actively hidden from the Twitter thread by Marvel themselves. Hilariously, though, their social media team could ultimately do little to stem an absolute torrent of fan criticism from crashing upon them, as despite Marvel's attempts to manipulate the tweets' optics, its still visible negative replies far outnumber those that are even remotely positive. Quote, not a single new or interesting thing announced, so why should I care? Unquote, asked at Spidey Neon. Quote, there is still no solution to the MJ situation. Same jobless, homeless plot line for Peter. Anyone who supports this book just proves that they like wasting their time and money. Unquote. Let's see. At Simply Dango decried, quote, "Can y'all stop ruining Ben Riley and fix him already? I just want to read Ben Riley comics with him written well as a hero. How is that so difficult for you to pull off?" Unquote. Because they don't, because what we're finding is that they don't seem to really care what you think. That's why. And I think the short answer, they just want to do what they want to do, unfortunately. Quote, "Jesus Christ," unquote, exclaimed at Neachard 101. Quote, you know things are dire when a character like Spider-Man can't even reach 100 issues between reboots. This is so pathetic. For those masochists who want to check out Spidey's latest kick in the, you know what, kick in the nether regions, the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 7 is currently set to swing onto shelves on April 9th. Oh, there we go with that one. Alrighty then. So there we go with that article. So now we'll get ready to move on to the next one. We're gonna go over here. See where we at on time here. Alright. I guess we're making some good time here. Alright, so in small quotes here, Mushoku Tensei, jobless reincarnation author, voice on small quote by the way, voices frustration with fans who only engage with series via YouTube videos. Quote, "If you are going to criticize me, I would like you to go and read it properly." He makes a good point there. Article by Spencer McCooley published this past Monday. So let's get into this. In giving a voice to a creative frustration that is shared universally by practically any and all artists, the author behind the popular web light novel series Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, has publicly expressed a wish for his detractors to, at the very least, actually engage with his work before attempting to criticize it. Having co-created the popular Isekai series in 2012 alongside illustrator Shirotaka, the author, as best known by his pen name Rifujin na Magonote, offered his thoughts on the rising trend of, in smaller quotes, media consumption via third-party recollections. Now, mind you, for those of you who don't know what the term isekai means, it just simply means character who travels basically to another world, gets somehow swept to another world. By way of a series of tweets shared to his personal Twitter account. Taking to the social media website on December 18th, so a week ago yesterday, seemingly in response to an unspecified fan interaction, the author opined, in parentheses, as machine translated by DeepL, in quotes in bracket there, saying something is, in smaller quote, easy to read, on smaller quote, is a compliment. But if you did not intend to make it easy to read, you may not be happy to receive a compliment. After all, people want to be praised for the effort they put into it. It can't be helped. Unquote. Turning to directly address the hypothetical fan, the series co-creator continued, quote, however, even if you try to find the part, in small quotes, in brackets, the author put a lot of effort into, in small quote, to please them, you will usually not be able to find it, and the compliments themselves will not come out. So you should just be thoughtless and praise the good points. Unquote. Soon after posting his thoughts, Maganaut was inundated with replies from fans, a large majority of which consisted of them validating the author's frustrations, offering him their support, and even pressing him as to just what other seemingly positive behaviors would elicit similar reactions. To his last point, Maganaut was eventually pressed by one Twitter user as to how they would, quote, feel if someone got lazy and started, in small quote, reading, unsmall quote, your books by watching re-recorded videos instead of reading your writings, unquote. Pressed for clarification by the author, said user further explained in quote in brackets here, how would you feel someone calls themselves a fan of yours, but instead of reading your book, they are watching a video of the plot of your book. Just like with movies, some people choose to watch the compilation instead of watching the movie themselves, unquote. Now, understanding what the fan meant, Maganaut asserted in turn, quote, you mean if someone sees only the summary video, feels like they've read it, and claims to be my fan. I don't mind too much, unquote. But in offering a very stark caveat to their, in smaller quote, media engagement method, unsmall quote, indifference, the author added, quote, however, if you are going to criticize me, I would like you to go and read it properly and not just speak from your knowledge of a video that you don't know who made it, unquote. Quote, I think it's like measles, because there will always be people like that, unquote. He ultimately affirmed, quote, or I myself used to criticize some works without seeing them when I was younger. I'm sure they will eventually reflect on it and get over it. So we just have to leave it as it is for now, unquote. Yeah, I think what he's saying is sometimes just simply relying on the TLDR method doesn't always give you the full extent of the experience. While the original Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation novel series already came to a close in 2022, The series is still receiving love to this day. Earlier this year, the series anime adaptation aired its second season and announced the upcoming production of a third, while the Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation Quest of Memories RPG hit all platforms save the Xbox One and Xbox Series XS this past June. Alrighty then, so there we go with that. With that article, and we will actually get to the last one here in a moment. I need to step away for a moment. I will be right back. Put some music on. All right, I'm back. So now let's move on to the last article I'm going to go over tonight here. It's an anime-related article here. It was actually published on Christmas Eve 2 days ago. All right, so Studio Bones reveals release date for final season of My Hero Academia, announces long-awaited anime adaptation of My Hero Academia Vigilante spinoff. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published on the 24th, a couple of days ago. So here we go. Heroes and Vigilantes assemble. While this year's Jump Festa, as always, held a treasure trove full of announcements, perhaps none were bigger, and the dual reveal from Studio Bones that not only have they been given the activation orders for the My Hero Academia's anime's 8th and final season, but also the green light to begin work on the long-awaited anime adaptation of Hideyuki Furuhashi and Betancourt's beloved spin-off manga, My Hero Academia Vigilantes. As presented on the event's Red Stage on December 22nd, so this past Sunday, by series voice actors Daiki Yamashita, who provides the Japanese voice of Izuku Midoriya. Nobuhiko Okamoto, who provides the Japanese voice of Katsuki Bakugo. Yuki Kaji, who provides well, I guess provides the character voice of Yuki Kaji, and character Miyake, who provides the Japanese voice of All Might. The two heroic missions were launched courtesy of a key art reveal for My Hero Academia proper and a trailer premiere for Vigilantes. In terms of Kohei Horikoshi's original story, the final season of My Hero Academia will adapt volumes 40 through 42 of his popular manga and is set to depict the epic final clashes between both Deku and Shigaraki, and present as teased in its key visual, as well as All Might and All for One. But prior to gearing up for My Hero Academia's final season release in fall 2025, Shueisha and Studio Bones Film Division will introduce fans to the streets of Naruhata with an anime adaptation of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. Set prior to the events of the main series, Vigilantes delves into the shadows of the world's superhuman society and centers on the concept of vigilantes, a colloquial name given to those unlicensed heroes who illegally use their quirks for the greater good. Leading viewers on this journey will be none other than Koichi Himewari, a young boy who aspires to be a hero due to arriving late to his UA High entrance exam, has had to settle for watching their exploits from afar, only using his sliding quirk for such mundane tasks as picking up trash, finding lost items, and helping old ladies cross the street. However, after being rescued from a back alley brawl by the quirkless vigilante Knuckle Duster, Koichi finds his dormant heroic spark reawakened. Proceeding to take up the superhero name of the Crawler, Koichi teams up with Knuckle Duster and the pop idol vigilante known as Pop Step to investigate the production and sale of a new quirk-boosting drug named Trigger that seems to be turning civilians into outright villains. Whoa! quite a story there. And a friendly reminder, of course, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So with that being said, continue on with the show here. Set to be produced by Bones Films and helmed by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's overall series director Kenichi Suzuki, the series will also feature a script from My Hero Academia anime writer Yosuke Kuroda, character design work by Cells at Work chief animation director and character designer Takahiko Yoshida. Following the trailer, the panel revealed comments from My Hero Academia Vigilante mangakas Furuhashi and Court, in parentheses, as machine translated by Deepel, commemorating the announcement. Quote, while the main story of My Hero Academia is a story of intense light and shadow, Vigilante is a serialized story that depicts the gray area within that worldview, unquote. Furuhashi acknowledged. Quote, this time around, it feels like the vague shadows have suddenly come to the forefront, and I am anxious to see how things unfold. Horikoshi Sensei, all my Hero Academia fans, all the readers of Vigilante, and everyone involved, please continue to support us, unquote. Alongside an original illustration depicting the Naruhara Vigilante trio, Court commented, quote, what a surprise. This is a great surprise. This anime adaptation was made possible thanks to the original author, Horikoshi Sensei, as well as everyone involved, everyone who has read Vigilante, and everyone who has supported My Hero Academia up until now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Unquote. Barring any unforeseen delays or villainous schemes, My Hero Academia Vigilantes is slated to premiere in April 2025, with My Hero Academia final season set to follow in fall 2025. Alrighty then. Oh, there we go. There you go. That's it for the articles. Let's see now. All right, so let me see now. So let's see. It's a minute. All right. So we'll move right into the wrestling. Move right into the wrestling wrap up. As on last night's Dynamite, which was taped this past Sunday, from the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. So the final round robin matches of the Continental Classic tournaments took place as the opening match saw Will Ospreay defeat Brody King. Darby Allin and Ricochet went to a time limit draw in Gold League matches, and in the final Gold League match, Commander upset Claudio Castagnoli, getting his lone 3 points of the tournament, and in essence eliminating Castagnoli from the semis, as it were. As we'll talk about that in a moment. Well, actually, since the Gold League matches happened here, well, so with those results now, Ricochet will be the number one, and Will Ospreay would be the number two, as with Ospreay and Castagnoli both having 9 points. Ospreay holds the tiebreaker with the one-on-one victory over Castagnoli. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment as to what all that means for this Saturday's World's End event. And of course, also Toni Storm defeated Taya Valkyrie in a one-on-one match. And in the last 2 matches of the Blue League tournament, Kazuchika Okada secured his spot in the semis, defeating Shelton Benjamin, and Kyle Fletcher secured his spots in the semis, defeating TNT champion. So now of course, Kazuchika Okada and Kyle Fletcher will now be representing the Blue League. Now, the semis and finals of the Continental Classic will happen this Saturday at World's End. And now, as it was slated, that the winner of the Blue League will be taking on the runner-up of the Gold League. The winner of the Gold League will be taking on the runner-up of the Blue League. That means Kyle Fletcher will be taking on Will Ospreay in one semifinal, and Kazuchika Okada will be taking on Ricochet in another, in what is said to be another first-time matchup happening. In the case of the Ospreay Fletcher matchup, Ospreay looks to even the score with Fletcher, who beat Ospreay earlier in the year. At the last pay-per-view they were at together. So while Fletcher looks to really just nail down, Ospreay once and for all, and really break out of his shadow, as it were. So, also in WWE news, and of course tomorrow night there's Rampage on A&E, and WWE SmackDown will kind of give you guys a heads up on what's all going down there tomorrow. And then this Saturday. And tomorrow night's Rampage, I believe, will be the final Rampage ever, as they've decided to cancel that show. So that tomorrow night will be the final airing of Rampage. So now it will just be Dynamite Collision starting in 2025 here. And some other rumors going out there. There's some talk that possibly both Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch will be making their return soon, as there's been some talk that Flair will be coming back from her injury, possibly as a heel, and then after taking some time off to be with her family, there's some talk that Becky Lynch might be returning to the ring soon. So, but we'll just have to wait and see. WWE, of course, aside from a few weeks away from Royal Rumble, but also about a week and a half now, on January the 5th will be WWE Raw's premiere on Netflix, which of course already signed for that. That, of course, is Roman Reigns taking on Solo Sikoa in a tribal combat match for possession and leadership of the family, possession of the Ula Fala, which is a sign of leadership in the family. So, so that's all we got for the wrestling wrap up then. So now so with today being Thursday, December 26th, 2024, let's take a look back at this day in each history. So, first off, I'm going to go back 50 years ago, as on this date 50 years ago, today, back in 1974. Back in 1974. The 30th issue of Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo Mystery Comics from Gold Key went on sale on this date 50 years ago today, back in 1974. Sold for a quarter, with 32 pages. So on this date, as we've talked about before, Gold Key's done a number of adaptations of other properties. So on this date, 50 years ago today, the 30th issue of Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo Mystery Comics went on sale on this date back in 1974. And 1974 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. It's also on this date in 1974. So we can also on this date in 1974. Paul Jones would regain the NWA Mid-Atlantic television title from Ivan Koloff in Greensboro. So during the touring circuit in the Mid-Atlantic area back then, Paul Jones would regain the Mid-Atlantic TV title from Ivan Koloff at an NWA Mid-Atlantic event. Of course, that was the company that would be the territory that would eventually become WCW. So, anyways, with that being said, moving on to the next piece in each history, we move ahead to 2004, 20 years ago today. On this date, 20 years ago today, on this date, 20 years ago today, the final episode of Zex's Final Approach anime, which is based off a video game, premiered on this date 20 years ago today. So the final episode of the Final Approach anime from Zex premiered on this date in Japan 20 years ago today. And finally, moving ahead to 2019, 5 years ago today, as soon as I bring that up. On this date, 5 years ago today, premiering on Netflix was Universal Television's Fast and Furious Spy Racers. It was an animated series based on the Fast and Furious film series. So on this date, 5 years ago today, Fast and Furious Spy Racers animated series from Universal Television premiered on this date on Netflix. So with all that being said, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here with more Ninja News tomorrow, of course. Don't forget, this Sunday, I'll have Apex from Apex Comics with me, as we'll be looking back to comics went on sale in April of 1940. We'll be focusing in on fiction now, so we'll be likely reading Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, Stuart Taylor, Weird Stories of the Supernatural. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.